Hi, welcome to This Expat Life. My name is Amanda Maxime, and as a certified coach, I help high-achieving expats find more fulfillment and happiness in their global lives. Because while life abroad is often amazing, it is not only rainbows and butterflies, as all experienced expats know. In This Expat Life, I open up space for all facets of life abroad and what you can do to thrive in it. And to support you in your personal, professional, and geographic life transitions, I share tips, tell relatable stories, and connect with fellow expats. Whether you've just moved abroad or you are a seasoned expat, This Expat Life is your place to find real understanding and to grow from the inside out. Enjoy the show. Hey everyone, welcome back to This Expat Life, and I'm joined in a digital studio by Amie Wiley. And Amie is the founder of Active with Amie, a wellness brand dedicated to empowering women through a holistic approach to fitness and well-being. And with a background in psychology, Amie has created a platform that focuses on fitness, nutrition, mindset, lifestyle, and sustainable wellness practices. Amie is also a content creator sharing her life to an audience of over 100,000 people across all social platforms and also across the world, I believe. Originally from County Clare in Ireland, but now living in New York, Amie is living a really interesting life, and this is why I invited her to This Expat Life. I found Amie about a year ago, and at the time she was moving to New York and doing 75 hard, which is a pretty difficult challenge for physical fitness and emotional resilience. And I was so amazed when I saw her do that, because just 2 months later, I was moving to Rio myself. And as always with every move, the first thing I stopped doing is taking care of my physical well-being. I always stop exercising. And I found Amie so inspiring that even though she was so busy in her international move, she still made the time for this particular challenge. And it inspired me to also keep up with my physical practices when I was moving to Rio. So this is why I invited Amie to the show, because I believe she has a lot to offer for us busy expats who prioritize their career or their life abroad, sometimes a little too often over their physical and mental well-being. And I'm very interested to hear what Amie has to share for us. So welcome, Amie, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Very looking forward to our chat now.
Yeah, me too. So are you calling in from New York?
Yes, New York City at the moment. That's where I am.
Yeah, and you've been living there for a year now, right?
Yes, I moved October last year, so just over a year. But honestly, time flies and goes so fast here that you'd
Yeah.
think I was here much longer. Like it's insane how quickly time goes here.
Yeah. Well, you've been also flying back and forth to Ireland and a few other countries, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so I have a bit of a travel bug in me. I've had it since I was 17. I moved out of home when I was 17, and I've kind of traveled around the world since. Used to live in Asia, Belgium, London. So the traveling and bouncing around countries is a part of me, but also I love home as well. So any opportunity I can get to go home, I'll absolutely take it. Love my
Yeah.
family, they live there. My friends are still there. Not all of them, but a few. And then obviously my little family dogs are there as well. So it's always
Yeah.
good to have a little cuddle with them when I go home.
Nice. Very nice. Maybe can you just quickly explain what is 75 hard, since I mentioned that in the introduction and not everyone knows this challenge.
Yes, so it's a mental resilience challenge, physical as well. And there's a set of rules that you have to follow for 75 days straight, break any of the rules on any of the days, and you have to start at day one again. So the rules are two 45-minute workouts a day, one has to be outside. Um, Follow a certain nutritional plan. I did, if it fits your macros, but anybody, you can pick your own one, but the one you choose, you have to follow. You have to read 10 pages of a book every single day. You have to drink 2 liters of water every day. Take a progress picture every day. I think there's one more thing, but I'm not remembering right now. But just a set
Wow.
of rules basically that you have to follow every single day for 75 days and break any of them, and you'll have to start at day one again or else give up.
And did you complete it in one go?
Yes, first time
Wow.
doing it and completed it in one go. And even like you were mentioning there at the start of this interview, it was during such a busy time in my life. And when you
Yeah.
were even talking about that there, I was like, whoa, I actually did do that. Like, it's a bit crazy. But taught me a lot. And I'm very grateful that I did do it.
Can you share some of the lessons that it taught you?
So the reason I started it was kind of coming towards the end of summer. Summer, we all enjoy ourselves. We're maybe not feeling our best, like physically wise, mentally wise. And that's basically my huge passions and interests. Is what my business is making sure women are feeling their best inside and out. I personally wasn't. So I was like, I need a challenge and I need something that's going to, I love a challenge and I need something that's really, really going to challenge me. So I
Yeah.
started 75 hard. I knew I was going to be moving to New York in the midst of it, but I knew, and it's always been the case that when my health life, like my exercise life and minding myself life is on point, my work life is as well. I really
Mm.
value my work. I really value my job. I have now a team of two amazing coaches that I employed in the last year. So I'm a very busy person. And if I don't take care of my health, the process and the progress, maybe actually the progress of my business kind of tanks as well. And a massive part of my move to New York was to scale Active with Amie, which is my business. So like if I'm on point, business is going to be on
Mm.
point. And it absolutely was like it's oh no alcohol. That's the massive
Oh
one.
yeah.
No
Yeah.
alcohol for 75 days.
That's a good one.
So biggest learning was alcohol. Like I knew it anyway. Like I love having a few drinks. I'm sure everybody does.
Hmm.
But the way that it kind of corrupts your motivation and creativity is insane. And for those
Yes.
75 days, oh my good God, I was so productive, so creative. And I say that was kind of one of the main take home points I got from it.
Wow, that's amazing. So you seem to do well with challenges, and that helps you to stick to whatever you promise to yourself or to other people. I am not like that. I find it very hard to stick to something unless it's like a hard deadline or something. And I know there are many others like me who then, in that case, also prioritize deadlines at work or family time or whatever else they find important. Because there might be a bigger return on investment right away if you do something for your business or job. What tips do you have for people who are in the middle of a move as well, or just in a really busy time living abroad, to stay on top of their physical and mental game?
I know it can be hard, and I will often say to clients, because there's many clients that will be working with us at Active with Amie and will be traveling or moving. It's just a part of life and it happens. Um, but one thing I always say, and it kind of hits home with them, is if you can keep up with any of these practices in a very, very busy period of your life, when you're not busy, it's going to be so, so easy for yourself
Mm,
because it's a no-brainer. Like when you make time for these things, then when you have the world of time, easy peasy. And like that's how it like becomes a part of a sustainable lifestyle. And that's all that I teach is sustainable, like making this fit into your life in a sustainable way so you
yeah,
enjoy and you stick to it in the long term. But I would mainly say that, but then also just realize that you may not be able to do what you used to be doing in terms of output and the amount of hours you spend. You may have to do half that. That's also okay. But you need to
hmm,
get rid of the all or nothing approach and do what you can and keep up a baseline what you can. Even going into Christmas, everyone completely throws their fitness routine out the window. I'm
yeah.
really, really doubling down in December because I'm not
Ah,
thinking of December. I'm thinking of January. And in January, I do not want Amie to be unfit. I do not want to be less strong than I am now. So any bit that I can do now, even if it's 20 minutes in the gym, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, that's going to put me a lot more ahead in January than it will be if I just say, well, I'll just start in January. So just
yeah.
kind of reframing your mindset in that way.
Yeah, that's a very good one. Have a bigger perspective and seeing the longer term benefits of it. I like that a
100%.
lot. Yeah. Um, you mentioned already that when you were doing this challenge and you were so busy, you saw your productivity increase and your creativity. What are the ripple effects of maintaining your fitness levels and just making sure you feel fit and healthy beyond the physical practice of it?
I always say that gym life and exercise life always transfers into everyday life. Like you learn so much thing by being in a healthy, rigid routine. Like nobody wants to go to the gym every day. Nobody wants to work out every day. Some people do.
Yeah.
Some people do.
And you?
Um,
Do you want to work out
uh,
every day?
Not every day, no. We're all
Uh-huh.
human. Like I
Yeah.
ebb and flow as the months go on, but it's more so making it a part of my routine. And when it's a part of my routine, I really see the benefits. When I let it go, like when it goes, oh my God, I'm a different person altogether. And I'll notice it in my mood and how I'm feeling, and emotional well-being is so important too. Like all the positive effects that you get from exercise, like your endorphin, serotonin levels,
Yeah.
just even delayed dopamine, for example, of doing something hard and completing the task and it's done. It's just so, so beneficial for our mind, and especially in a world that we live with dopamine like this and quick hits with our phones all the time.
Yeah.
So, absolute roundabout answer to your question, but it transfers into everyday life no matter what you do. Like even in the gym, pushing yourself hard teaches resilience. You bring that into everyday life, whether it be with
Yeah.
relationships, with work. And I just think it's just such a healthy thing to have something that challenges you, that makes you better and like improves your health. And when it does, you're going to be a better person. You're going to show up as a better person because if we take care of ourselves first, everything else in our life is a lot more positive as a byproduct as well.
Yeah, 100%. I do agree with that. Yet I still find it difficult sometimes. I have ebbs and flows a lot too. And sometimes when I'm really busy or when my health gets affected, I had that for the last couple of months. I just like slow down on my exercise and yeah, it goes out of the window. Uh, Only for running, that's when I do still go out a lot. Um, and
What
you
I
know,
will say though
yeah.
is there are different forms of exercise that you can do depending on how you're feeling. A
Yes.
massive thing, for example, that I'll tune in on, um, I work with females, is our menstrual cycle, for example.
Mhm.
Every stage of the month, we're at different levels of what we want to do. High intensity may not be the case for all 4 weeks. So if you're not feeling it yourself, be in tune with your body. Know that you can move in so many different ways. You don't have to run, you don't have to resistance train.
Yeah.
You could go Pilates, you could go yoga, you could even do a light stretching. You're not like defined to one form of exercise that you do. You can do multiple given whatever you're able to do at a certain time in your life.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You mentioned a menstrual cycle as well, but I am actually probably dealing with a histamine intolerance. And so after a really intensive workout, I feel knackered and I don't feel good at all because it creates this extra histamine in my body. And so I'm also learning now, okay, I need different kind of movement and maybe not a run in the hills. Because even though I feel great in the moment, an hour later, I'm going to feel like shit.
Mm.
So it's really important, I think, to find something that matches your physical mood or whatever you're going through, and probably also something that you enjoy doing. Um, Exercise is not always
Absolutely.
something that people enjoy.
And like, I just feel like people, especially with social media, you almost feel pressurized to do what everybody else is doing. But
Mm,
there's so many forms of movement. Walking is fantastic. Walking is underrated. If you can walk more, that's absolutely amazing. So good for the head. You're out in fresh air, you're getting your steps up, you're increasing your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, if we were to put a label on it. But there's so many forms of movement, and it's just finding the one that you like and what works for you at the time and then sticking with that. You don't need to do what everybody else is doing.
yeah, I fully agree. And that's also something that I always say, not just about exercise, but living your life. Do something that lights up your soul. I actually have a really specific question because when I moved to Rio earlier this year, I joined a gym. That gym was very, very busy. And so you had to wait very long for the machines and equipment. And I was so intimidated by the cariocas. These are people from Rio. Cariocas love to work out, they look really, really good. Um, their bodies are just amazing. And I walked in there and I saw them in their beautiful, whatever they were wearing to the gym and using these equipments and machines. And I thought, like, okay, I need to ask, and in another language, if I can use it after them. And I don't even know how to use it. And at some point, I got a personal trainer and that helped me. But I felt so intimidated by it, being in another country also, that I just felt like, I'll just stick to the things that I know and I'll just work a little bit like in the corners of the gym. So, you seem to be someone who's very confident going into the gym. What tips do you have for people who find themselves in a new city or country who might, like me, be intimidated by what they find there and they're not so sure of themselves for those machines and equipment?
Yeah, I've been a gym goer for 10 years and been working with my business for three. And I will say every time I go into a new gym environment, it is daunting, even for really,
Hmm.
really experienced gym goers. Like we're all at baseline level because when I go into a new gym, I do not know where anything is. Sometimes machines are different and sometimes I will not know how to set up that certain machine. And that's just a learning process that comes with it. But what I would say is a huge thing with a new gym is just getting used to the environment that you're in. It's new, it's daunting, you don't know where everything is. What
Hmm.
I always do when I go there, nine times out of 10, the cardio equipment and especially the treadmills are going to be facing the weights area. So I will go to the gym, I will walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes, kind of suss out my whereabouts, and I'll kind of have a brief idea where machines are. Then when I start to get into my workout, I'll start to feel a small bit more confident, and that's fine. Otherwise, what I would say is a set of dumbbells, even for your first week there or first 2 weeks until you feel comfortable, and you can kind of be looking around the gym at people doing it while you're there anyway. But a set of dumbbells and a mat and a corner in the gym, and you can get an unbelievable full body workout done. You
Hmm.
do not need much equipment at all. And then, like I said, you can be looking around, figuring out where it works. But to go further than that, if you wanted to pay for a service to help personal trainer is great. A lot of gyms, actually all gyms will do inductions. So if you ask at the reception, can I
Hmm.
get a introduction to the gym, they will walk you around, they will show you the machines, they will show you how things work and where things are. That's in every gym. I know the language barrier may be there, but even if they were to walk around and kind of show you without with the language barrier being there, you would understand a lot more. And then your next
Yeah.
level would be to get a coach, get a personal trainer, get an online coach. I know for my service Active with Amie, I have full video breakdown descriptions of how every exercise works. So you'll have that to watch and you'll have it as reference. So it makes it a small bit easier. But just don't be afraid to ask for help. The gym is a very kind of community-based, safe environment, and everyone is there to help each other.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely something that I found in my own gym here in The Hague. But sometimes some gyms may come across as like very masculine and very daunting, like you said. I'm also curious because you've lived in so many different places. Do you see any cultural differences in the gym?
Ooh, good question. Cultural differences, no, but the like I don't want to use the word crazy, but the craziest gym I've been in was a gym in Bali. And it was just so many different nationalities in one place and such a mix of cultures in one place that
Hmm.
I can't actually describe it. It was kind of strange. It was strange in a way, but I wasn't the type to, like, when I go to the gym, I'm literally straight in there, exercise, 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 I'm out. Where there's a lot of kind of vanity metrics when it comes to gym in Bali, for example, which I found, and I don't really vibe with that too much now. I do
Yeah,
record myself in the gym with workouts and stuff, but that's more so for educational basis to share across
yeah,
my socials and stuff. But yeah, I found there was a lot of vanity metrics in the gym in Bali,
yeah.
but other than that, no, the rest have been fine.
Okay, yeah. So I think it's the same in Rio. Like people take selfies all the time, and the way that they look, it's like they're going to a fashion show. And yeah, it's a whole other different gym game than here in the Netherlands, where it's much more down to earth and yeah, normal,
Yeah,
I
and
would
like
say.
each to their own. I'll never put someone down for it. Like what you're into, that's no problem whatsoever. I just personally, it wouldn't be me. But again, we're not all going to be the same. We're not all going to have the same outlook on it. So
Hmm.
we'll leave people do what they want to do, and then we'll do what we want to do, and that's fine.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so using this theme a little bit more, but in another way, have you seen that something about how you saw your own physical, mental well-being change in every city that you lived? Like, does New York have a different impact on you, in terms of health and fitness than Bali or Belgium or Ireland?
Great question. I do often, like, if I was to answer that question, I would think of the different stages of my life that I was in.
Hmm.
So, right now I'm 25. When I lived in Bali, I was 22. When I lived in Belgium, I was 19 or 20. So, like, I've been young throughout, like, I have been younger before in certain places. But
Yeah.
what I will say, my whole reason for joining the gym and being into exercise and fitness comes from a performance standpoint because I've grown up playing sports my whole life since I was 6 years
Mm.
old. I've played the Irish nationalistic sport, GAA, camogie is what my main sport is called. So from the get-go, I have always been driven in sports and exercise for performance metrics, not physical metrics. So I've been lucky in that sense. Now we all obviously care about our aesthetics and how we look, and it's a byproduct of regularly exercising, of course. But I have always had the outlook that how my body, like what can my body do, not how is my body going to look. And because I focus on that, my body has naturally looked the best it could potentially look over
Yeah.
the years because I'm not focusing solely on how it looks. Because if I was and I wasn't seeing change, I would get disheartened and then I would give up. And that's exactly what we try to unteach and kind of unlearn with our clients
Hmm.
that come to Active with Amy because they will come with the whole I want to look this certain way. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to focus on the inside out and the outside will come as a byproduct of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Um, but I can imagine that New York has a lot more focus on performance than Bali. And we spoke about this already just before we started recording, how different it is, Bali and Rio compared to more ambitious kind of places, I guess. So would you say that that focus on performance is also impacting how you feel in your fitness? Do you feel like more you want to perform?
I think always, like for the gym, performance amazing. I love having performance-based goals, but also mindset. Like I go to the gym because I know it makes me feel better. I know it boosts my mood. I know it makes me more productive. And then I don't go solely to have abs or to be
Yeah.
ripped or whatever. I go to be stronger. I go to have more resilience. I go to have a clear mind. I go to feel happier for my mood to be better. So I don't think that is kind of dotted in places. I feel like it's the type of
Mhm.
person you are, how you are going to look at that. I still had those goals in Bali, for example. I still have them in New York. I have them in Ireland. It's just the
Mhm.
type of person I am. And it's the reason that I've been able to enjoy going to the gym for 10 years because
Yeah.
I'm doing it for the right reasons
Yeah.
and what I believe are the right reasons, each their own, of course.
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally get that. Personally, I have found differences because I was much more body conscious in Rio because everyone walks around there in bikinis and looks amazing, but not just in aesthetics, but also really just like, oh, they're taking care of their body, like they're really fit, and everyone was up at 5, 6 a.m. to go for a run there, and that really boosted my motivation as well to do that more than here in the cold in the Netherlands, where it's dark at 5 p.m. already.
Yeah, I will say in Bali, I did notice it was probably the first time body conscious thoughts kind of popped into my brain as much ever in my life. And it's because you're living in bikinis and you're
Yeah.
living in that type of environment. So yes, I completely agree with you with that. But really that was like a time I really had to reinforce my beliefs and my values of why I go to the gym and why I exercise so much. It's not to look ripped.
Yeah.
Yes, all these people around me are insanely chiseled out, but
Yeah.
I don't exercise for that reason. And if that was to come as a byproduct of why I exercise, amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. I'm also curious, and this is not related to health and well-being and fitness, or actually maybe to well-being. Um, I spent 6 months in Rio, and I went insane there because of the level of the noise that I heard. And now I know from your vlogs that New York is also pretty noisy, and that you sometimes hear sirens of ambulances and police cars in your apartment. How do you stay sane in such a busy and noisy city?
Yeah, that was tricky at the start, I will say. Like one particular thing I remember, I went home last Christmas, back to Ireland, and I had ringing in my ears because it was so quiet. So
Wow.
yeah, it's so overstimulating here. It's crazy. Now I am in a new apartment from what I was in. I used to live
Hmm.
in Midtown Manhattan, which was in the middle on Second Avenue. That's loud. So a lot quieter where I am now, which is amazing. But a huge thing that helps me is my morning routine. So having my morning pages I read, I journal every day, I gratitude journal every day. That keeps me in a calm space. I have my meditation, relaxing music on the background when I'm doing that. And even for me, just finding my source of flow and my source of meditation. Like meditation isn't just sitting down being like namaste
Yeah.
meditating. Meditation can come in many different forms. And for me, it's when I journal because I lose track of time
Hmm.
when I do that. It's when I gratitude journal. It's when I exercise. It's when I go for a walk in Central Park, for example. So channeling the things that make me feel good keeps me sane here because if you don't make time to do that, oh my goodness, you will lose your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Mm.
And I've seen as well, like you like to go back to Ireland also because it gives you the peace and space I think that you crave as well. And you also have a big love for Ireland. It's so nice to see. And I think I'm not entirely sure, but I think you also said once that New York is great, but it's always like going, going, going. So not just talking about the noise, but just everyone is always chasing the next thing, and there's a fast speed, and the performance is high. How do you deal more mentally with that, being there in New York?
Personally, I love that, and it's the reason I moved here. So I
Mhm.
moved to scale my business. I was not going to do it in County Clare in Ireland as much as I would have loved to. My environment impacts me so much.
Yes.
So I moved to be around that. So I knew what I was signing myself up for being in New York. I knew I was signing myself up for craziness, for nonstop go, for go-getter attitude, and that's what I wanted. So although yes, it is hard at times, keeping my wellness practices in my day-to-day keeps me in check. But also I know it's crazy because it's what I signed up for and it's the city I live in and it rewards you because it is crazy.
Mm.
And the more you throw yourself into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And I personally love that. Like you wake up here and you don't know what could happen in a day, but something cool can happen if you actually go for it and put yourself out there.
Yeah, I love that you say like the city rewards you for it. That's very nice.
Mm.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so when this episode comes out, it is just a new year has started, 2025. What is a very practical tip, or where can someone start who is an expat? They went back home for the holidays. They're going now back to the country that they live in. They know, the new year is starting. It's busy at work, and they do want to commit to their health and physical well-being this time. How can they stick to their New Year's resolutions? What practical tips do you have for them?
What I will say is start of the year motivation is high for universal. Like everybody is so motivated. It's just the way that
Yeah.
the world goes in January. Lean into that because that's not going to last long.
Yeah.
But what I will say is the morning is amazing. The more you can get done before midday, the better. Midday is
Mm.
when the slump happens. It's when we get tired. It's when we're like, oh, I said I was going to go to the gym. Now it's 1 p.m. Now it's 6 p.m. I'm not going. So
Yeah.
I personally love having, and I know it's not going to be the same for everybody and it will be hard for others, but habits take 21 days to form. If you can stick to it for 21 days, every single day will get easier. If you can get the bulk of your exercise done, if it's a walk, if it's a session in the morning, it really sets you up for the day. You're not going to want to get out of bed, I can assure you that. But when you
Yeah.
do, you will be so happy and then you will notice the kind of impact it has and then you will keep doing it. So lean into the hardness for a week or two and then it's easy. Hard now is easy later.
Oh, I love that. Hard now is easy later. Yeah, I love that. Okay, cool. And before I wrap up this interview with you, I want to ask you the question that I ask all my guests, and that is, what is your number one hack to make living abroad easier or better?
When you asked me this question first, the first thing that popped into my head was number one, FaceTime is amazing. So you can be connected with friends, with family.
Mhm.
And but one thing that I do, so I have my Alexa, I hope I don't
Yeah.
put that off for everybody. So I have her in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And if I'm ever homesick, what I'll put on is Claire FM. It's so random, but it's a radio
Oh,
station from
yeah.
where I'm from. And my dad has it on in the kitchen every single day. Like, I mean,
Oh,
since I was born, every single morning, Claire FM, every single afternoon, evening, it's on in the kitchen. So if I'm ever feeling homesick, I'll put that on. And I also like to write. So I write poetry. I actually had,
mm,
I wrote a poem about being homesick, but also being an expat. And I posted on TikTok, which I don't usually write or post my poetry, and that blew up and went absolutely viral, which is crazy. So
cool.
I write as well. They're like my three things that I do.
Yeah, nice, very nice. And how often are you homesick?
Do you know what? At the start, I'm not actually really homesick. If that, like, I thought I would be, but I'm so
Yeah.
busy and I have so many things that I'm doing. But I randomly got homesick Easter this year, which I don't know why, because
Mm,
Easter's not a big thing at all. I
mm,
think it was just because I had more time maybe on my hands.
right.
But I think the busier I am, the less homesick I am. But I also do try to have a flight booked every couple of months to go home for like a week,
Yeah.
which I think really helps. And when I have that, I don't actually allow myself to go homesick. So I'm like, well, I've only 3 weeks left until I go home, or 6 weeks left until I'm going
Yeah.
home. So yeah, that actually helps as well. But I know that's not feasible for all people, but that really helps
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And if people want to follow you or take more of your advice and tips, where can they find you?
Yes, so Instagram, TikTok, I post on YouTube as well. It's Amie Wiley, AMIE_Wiley, WILEY.
Great. Thank you. I'll also put it in the show notes. And thank you so much for being here and have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.